recently, ASQA updated its risk priorities, and since then, I've had quite a few people get in touch asking what these priorities actually mean in practice. Now, it's one thing to read the information on ASQA's website. It's another thing entirely to work out what that actually means for your RTO, and more importantly, what you should actually do about it. So I've decided to put together this series where we'll work through each of ASQA's current risk priorities one at a time. In each video, I'll briefly show you what ASQA has published, then I'll translate it into plain English, I'll explain why it matters, share some of the common issues that I see in the sector, and then finish with some practical actions you can take in your own RTO. Now, my goal with this isn't simply to help you to understand ASQA's priorities. It's to help you to build stronger educational practice, stronger governance, and stronger organisational capability, because ultimately, that's what delivers better outcomes for learners. Now, if this sounds useful, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the rest of the series. So, let's jump into today's risk priority. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on the risk priority, transparency, accountability, and assurance in complex and international delivery models. So the key focus for priority list: offshore split delivery and partner delivered training, weak partnership due diligence and monitoring, non-disclosure or misrepresentation of offshore activity, heavy reliance on agents, brokers, and third parties across recruitment, recognition of prior learning, and delivery. So again, I'm not going to spend time reading through the risk overview with you because you're perfectly capable of accessing that yourself on ASQA's website and, lots of words. So instead, let's talk about what this really means for RTOs. Now, this risk priority is a little different to the others that we've covered in this series. For many RTOs, this may not feel immediately relevant because it's largely focused on international delivery models and training that's delivered outside Australia. But if your RTO delivers training offshore, works with international partners, or is even looking to expand internationally, this is a really important risk priority to understand. Now, when I read the risk overview, the message that I take away is you can outsource delivery, but you can't outsource accountability. As Australian qualifications are delivered in more countries, through more partnerships, and under more complex business arrangements, ASQA wants confidence that the quality of those qualifications is being maintained. From ASQA's perspective, it shouldn't matter whether the training's delivered in Melbourne, Manila, or Madrid. Right? An Australian qualification should represent the same standard of competence regardless of where it's delivered. And that's what this risk priority is about. It's about protecting the reputation and integrity of Australian vet on the international stage. Now, Australian vet has a strong international reputation, and that's something the entire sector benefits from. Learners choose Australian qualifications because they trust the quality they represent. Employers value them because they have confidence in the competency outcomes. Governments recognise them because they expect them to meet a consistent standard. But maintaining that reputation becomes much more challenging when training's delivered through offshore campuses, partner organisations, or other international arrangements. Distance creates challenges. Different regulatory environments create challenges. Different cultures, workplaces, and education systems create challenges. Now, none of those mean that quality can't be maintained, but they do mean that RTOs need stronger oversight, stronger communication, and stronger assurance processes. ASQA's essentially saying that if you're delivering an Australian qualification internationally, you need to be able to demonstrate that the same educational standards are being achieved, regardless of where the learner is located. Now, one of the biggest risks I see is assuming that a strong partnership agreement is enough, right? Now, contracts are important, but they certainly do not assure quality. People do, systems do, and oversight does. I've also seen situations where an RTO has a great understanding of what's happening in Australia, but much less visibility over what's happening offshore. And now that can happen for lots of reasons, right? Time zones, distance, different business practices, a reliance on local partners. But none of those are excuses, right? But they are the realities that need to be actively managed. And another challenge is consistency. If a learner completes the same qualification in another country, would you be confident that they've had the same opportunity to develop competence as a learner studying here in Australia? That's a question every RTO delivering internationally should be asking. So, if I were currently leading an RTO with offshore delivery, these are 5 things I'd be doing. Number 1, review your oversight arrangements. How do you know what's happening in your offshore delivery sites beyond the reports that you're receiving? Number 2, look at your quality assurance processes. Are they designed for offshore delivery, or are they simply the same processes you use domestically? Number 3, talk regularly with your offshore trainers, assessors, and partners. Don't just review documentation, understand the challenges they're experiencing and how they're maintaining the requirements of the training product. Number 4, compare learner outcomes across locations. Are completion rates, assessment outcomes, validation findings, and learner feedback consistent? If there are significant differences, well, what are those differences telling you? Number 5, ask yourself, if ASQA visited one of our offshore delivery locations tomorrow, would we be confident that the learner experience and competency outcomes reflect the standard expected of an Australian qualification? If you're not completely confident, then that's where your attention should be. Now, if your RTO delivers training offshore, and if there was one thing I'd recommend to start addressing this risk priority over the next month, it would be to schedule a meeting with your offshore delivery team or partner. Don't make the agenda compliance, make it quality. And ask, what are the biggest challenges in delivering the same standard of Australian vocational education in your local context? The answers are likely to identify opportunities to strengthen support, oversight, and quality assurance. So, my biggest takeaway from this risk priority is that offshore delivery creates incredible opportunities. It expands access to Australian qualifications and it showcases the strength of our vet system around the world. But it also carries significant responsibility. Every qualification issued offshore contributes to the reputation of Australian vet. And that's why this risk priority isn't really about international expansion. It's about protecting the integrity of Australian qualifications wherever they're delivered. Because learners may be studying in different countries, through different partners, and in different contexts, but they should all graduate with the same confidence that their qualification represents genuine competence. And that's a responsibility that every RTO delivering offshore shares. Now, if you found this series helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. My goal with these videos has been to move beyond simply explaining ASQA's risk priorities and instead helping RTOs think about what they mean in practice. Because when we focus on building capability, strengthening governance, and improving educational quality, compliance becomes the outcome, not the objective. Thanks so much for watching this series, and I'll see you in the next video.